Chapter 2. Announcing the Plan. On August 1st, 1991, Disney announced their plans for celebration. The plan was for the town to initially house 20,000 residents in 4 neighborhoods known as villages, which surrounded the town center. Plans for a fiber optic network were also described, which would allow neighbors to send and receive info to one another, which was very innovative for the time. The shopping mall, now known as the Celebration Center, was also unveiled, and described as the then largest open-air shopping mall in Central Florida. Finally, they announced the Celebration Learning Center, the innovative public school for children, as well as the Disney Institute for adults, focused on offering social activities and educational classes. Despite the announcement in 1991, it wouldn't be until March 29, 1994 that ground would be broken in Celebration. This is when Celebration was officially founded, and that's why the year is shown on the town's logo. Although there was a delay between the announcement and construction, public interest did not wane as the years went by. Many people were interested in moving to Celebration, and many more were interested in keeping an eye on the project and seeing what happened. The media was particularly keen to watch for issues along the course of Celebration's lifespan, and the negative press over the years was something Disney would find themselves ill-prepared for. But even under so much scrutiny, there was a massive amount of people interested in moving to Celebration. So many, in fact, that the Disney Development Company needed a plan to manage these people effectively.
Let the celebration begin!
So, on November 18, 1995, the company held a large event hosting around 5,000 people interested in joining the new community. A lottery system was implemented, where deposits of $1,000 were taken in exchange for the chance to live in Celebration. 5 lotteries were separated into 5 tents. One was for apartments, and the rest were for the 4 villages, or neighborhoods, available. These villages were named the Estate, Village, Cottage, and Townhomes. These were collectively known as Celebration Village and were part of Phase 1 of construction. Upon winning, buyers were allowed to select their house styles: coastal, classical, colonial revival, French Normandy, Mediterranean, or Victorian. They also got to choose their house color: white, blue, yellow, green, pink, or pale beige. Color choices depended on the house style and whether or not houses near you had already picked those colors. 1,200 deposits were submitted. Some people submitted to multiple lotteries, hoping for the chance to win any of them. Prices were somewhat high and non-negotiable, as Disney was seemingly ready to return their investment sooner rather than later. It's worth noting that while the town square was actively being built at the time, the people were paying for homes that had not even begun construction. The sales office was in a prefabricated building, with the facade of a home on the outside. Despite the risk that these people were taking, many were overjoyed at the opportunity, and some went to great lengths to secure their future in Celebration. In the book Celebration U.S.A., journalists Doug Frantz and Catherine Collins described their experiences living in the town. Although they moved into Celebration during the second phase of construction, they interviewed those who were there at the lottery at the time. One resident had previously lived in New York, where it was illegal for him to be solicited with promotional materials regarding Celebration. This meant he would miss out on vital information regarding when he could try to bid to move into the town. Because of this, he illegally got a Florida's driver's license and bank account, using a friend's address so that he could receive the information he needed. Others were less adamant about moving in. Another resident put his name in the lottery on a whim after skipping an event he had planned to attend nearby. He was interested enough to move in when he won, but less invested in the project than many others. I got to speak to one of the first residents, Jackie Flanigan, who told me the story of how her family ended up in Celebration.
My name is Jackie Flanigan, and my husband and I and our 2 daughters at the time moved to Celebration on August 7th, 1996. So we were very early in Celebration. There's a fun story about how we ended up there, in that we knew we were moving to Florida, and we had heard about this town, and you know, we owned the Disney Vacation Club and we were Disney people. Well, interestingly enough, my husband took a position that made Disney his client. So obviously, in terms of location, when we moved, we needed to be close there because, you know, Disney, when they needed something, they expected you to come. And just the convenience of not having to fight I-4 every day. So we were looking for someplace close. And then we found out about Celebration after the fact, and we're like, wow, that would be really cool. But we were quite certain it was way out of our price point. And then we found out about the lottery, that the people who lived in Florida had first crack at housing there. So we were like, okay, well, that's off the table. And then we found out that there was going to be a day that opened up, and anybody, as long as, anybody could purchase in Celebration. My husband, literally, I'm not kidding you, got on an airplane in Columbus, Ohio at 5:45 in the morning, some unholy hour, and flew to Orlando, rented a car, drove to Celebration, and was in line. He was the first or second contract that they wrote outside the lottery. And he called me and he said, we've just bought a townhouse. And I never saw it. So it's how many people would do that? Fast forward, we moved literally in August of 96. And I remember the date because it was literally the day after our anniversary. So anyway, being there in the beginning was just a little on the surreal. It was like you were embarking, you felt a little bit like a pioneer, that you were embarking on something new and unknown, but could be really awesome.
No matter how those first residents ended up at the lottery that day, and no matter how adamant they were about being a part of Celebration, every person who put their name down was taking a big risk. And with that risk came a feeling of uncertainty, but more than that, a sense of excitement and anticipation. Those who were there at the lottery often consider it to be a badge of honor, as the event has become a big part of the town's history and culture. This was the beginning of the community, as the people, perhaps unbeknownst to them, had created their first shared experience. Although Celebration was technically founded in 1994, it wasn't until June 18th of 1996 that the first family moved into their home. Many families, such as Jackie's, temporarily lived in apartments until their houses were completed. Construction on homes moved quickly, and many were completed that summer. On November 12, 1996, Downtown Celebration completed construction. This was known as the First Founders Day, an annual event held in the town. Attending the First Founders Day also grants bragging rights, as they were present for another piece of Celebration history. Michael Eisner was also in attendance at this event. On March 1st, 1997, Phase 2 of construction was announced, which included new neighborhoods known as West Village, North Village, and Lake Evelyn. But in the same year, many of those who heralded this project from the start began to leave the company, Peter Rummell and Jerry Ray included. And as they left, the company focused on securing profits even quicker, eager to fully return their investment. In the next few years, the town would experience some growing pains the company had not foreseen, and the media would soon draw attention to the problems. And as expansion began and construction continued, it would be the town's construction that would cause the first set of struggles for the community to overcome.